Welcome to the Coaches Preview Show. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. Today, we have special guests from Independence and Page High School basketball talking about tonight's district matchup. We're going to start with the girls' coaches. We've got Mary Beth White of Independence, Adam Brock of Page. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me too.
You guys are both really in similar situations. Coach White, you stepped up on an interim basis to coach the team this year. They brought you out of retirement. You've got your athletic director duties, but you didn't know necessarily going in that you were going to have to step up. And then Coach Brock, you've taken over for your dad, kind of a family affair. Your dad, Coach Ron Brock, for the time being. We're looking forward and anticipating his return fairly soon. But that has to be, you know, a little bit of a challenge for both of you. Obviously, Coach White, you've dealt with it a little bit longer now because you've had it for the year. So, Coach White, let's start with you. This wasn't in the plans when the year started with your job as athletic director too. So, how's it been?
Well, it's been a little different, but I enjoy it. I love basketball. I've gotten to really know the girls on a pretty quick turnaround. I think it started on November 9th, second week of practice, and you know, it's a great bunch of kids. I had to go find a whistle. I actually went to Walmart Sunday night before practice started on Monday and bought me a whistle, and, you know, having to get up in the attic and dust off some files. But, you know, I was in it long enough that didn't forget a whole lot. It's like riding a bike. And girls have been very, very receptive, and parents, actually the whole school. So we're young. We're taking some lumps. But, I mean, I can't ask for any more effort from the kids. So it's been fun.
Well, and Coach, to let our audience know, you're the athletic director there at Independence High School. Certainly that requires a lot of work. Anytime you go to an independent sporting event, you're like a worker bee. You're in there doing everything for the school. We've got challenges with COVID this year, so that has to be extra challenging. It's not only you've got those athletic director responsibilities, but you've got athletic director responsibility in the days that we're living in.
Yeah, definitely. COVID has added a few extra little things, but you know, by now, of course, you too. We've been talking about it since summer, and I think Williamson County's done a great job adapting. Our coaches, all of our schools have done a good job of just being flexible, because sometimes it changes day to day, sometimes it's hour to hour. But we've given our kids a great opportunity and chance, and been able to get this far, and looking forward to finishing up basketball. And I know spring sports they are just itching after last year. They're excited. We're excited. I'm excited to get back out there with spring sports. So we'll just, you know, keep plugging and do what we can to give these kids the best opportunity we possibly can.
Coach Brock, talk about the challenges of taking over for your dad on an interim basis. Obviously, you're an experienced assistant coach there. This isn't your first rodeo either, but just talk about maybe the challenges and changes that has brought for you.
So being with my dad, we've been together for probably 10 plus years now. We started at Sunset Middle School even, actually, and then moved to Ravenwood. I was there for a good solid 4 years, and now we're back at where I graduated, Page High School. So there aren't really too many challenges because he lets us take over in practice and do what we need to do with the girls. So just having the voice and being able to talk with the girls, and I think it's been pretty easy to set in just because of the roles he's allowed his assistant coaches to play on the team.
Well, Coach, that's pretty obvious when I watch your teams, you know, last year with that postseason run. And, you know, for me, I know a lot of people go to games and they watch the action out on the floor, which I certainly do. But I also pay attention to the coaches because I love talking to coaches and I love coaching. It's pretty obvious that you do have that great chemistry amongst your staff, and you guys do have responsibilities. You know, they always say that a successful leader in their absence There'll still be a plan. There'll still be an obvious process that you have to go through. That seems to be definitely the case with your squad based on what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously wanted to coach with him because I played ball in the past. I played at collegiate basketball, and our other assistant, Sarah, was well versed in basketball. She also played under him when she was a lot younger. So having her as well on the female side of thing really helped us out with our girls basketball team for sure.
Let's talk about your teams a little bit. We'll start with Independence. Coach, you talked about you having a young team, had your struggles, but they're working hard. They're continuing to get better, still looking for that first league win. But talk about, how you've been able to get them to still compete. Is it based on, hey, look, we're young. This is a process. It's going to be fine. When we look forward a year from now, 2 years from now, what we're doing today is going to make a difference. Is that part of that conversation?
It is. It's just, it's kind of knowing and getting the girls to understand their capabilities and limitations. We've got 16 people on roster. 2 are on injured reserve. So out of 14 able bodies, 12 of those 14 are freshmen and sophomores. And the reality of that for most programs is, that's kind of like a JV team playing at a varsity level. And I've got a couple of freshmen out there going against seniors. They're a lot bigger and faster and more experienced. And it's just kind of setting goals that don't necessarily look at the scoreboard or don't look at a win and loss column, but different types of goals, just improving on, turnover possession ratio, rebounding skills, and losing the summer and a preseason with such a young group where you got summer camps and working with all that, that's when you do all your fundamental work. And they didn't have that opportunity due to COVID. So it's kind of like a double whammy. You're young and you didn't get all that extra practice. So we're kind of trying to do summer fundamental work and game planning all at the same time. But they're hanging in, and I think they're catching on, and we are improving. So in another year or two, it's going to be okay.
Well, your team, talk about them being so young, when you start talking about 12 of your 14 able bodies are freshmen or sophomores, that is a tough row to hoe for sure, but doing a good job keeping it between the ditches, so to speak, Coach. Christy Martinez was really your only player that returned with any type of experience. Talk about some of the other young ladies that have also stepped up for you.
Yeah, Christy's our lone senior, and she has really stepped into a leadership role. And man, I tell her thank you almost every day for just hanging in there. We had some other young ladies that just decided that, they had some other things in their lives that they needed to pursue besides basketball at this time. But then we actually had a junior soccer player, Chase Bethman, that's come on the scene. And the first day of practice, I thought, man, you need to stay at soccer. And then she put up some great numbers earlier in the week against Ravenwood. And it's really kind of moved from just kind of that practice player to she's in rotation now. And then, start 2 freshmen, Claudia Chilton and Evie Nichols, as 2 perimeter players. Claudia is a point guard, and then another freshman softball player, Jayla Miller, my backup point guard. So two freshman point guards has caused a lot of gray hair, but man, they're workhorses and they come every day, and they're giving me everything they can possibly give. So there's no complaints there.
Well, you talk about people who are in situations where they need to be. Certainly, you're in the right situation for that team and your situation. I know you're handling it well. You've got experience. You get it. This is not your first rodeo. You know what you have. You know what you have to do to improve. So it's obvious, believe me, outside looking in.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about Page here. You guys are coming off a 77-20 win over Centennial on Tuesday night. You now sit at 5-1 in the league. I'm sure it's been great getting back on the floor too, Coach Brock.
Oh yeah, it's been really good getting back on the floor and these girls getting their legs back under them. And but we still got a long ways to go. I mean, we're young too. We have no seniors. We lost a couple key pieces last year, so still trying to put everything together and still create that chemistry on the court. It's still going to take some time, and hopefully we can have all these pieces and everything put together chemistry wise by the time we get late into the season.
When you talk about Page girls basketball, you have to start with Mackenzie Cochran, Lily Wilkin, obviously keys for you guys, and I mean this in a very complimentary way. These are two players that I'm sure your opponents look at your roster and say they are only juniors. They've been playing 7 years apiece, so it's. I know you rely on them for a lot, but you've had some other players step up too, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like pick your poison. You go out and you guard those two names, and you got Abigail Ward step up, hit some shots. You got our athletic guard, Braylee Bushman. She's starting to come on the scene and play really well. And we got a couple key pieces that we rotate off the bench. And Sadie has really stepped up in our post position to replace a really key piece in our program to replace Olivia Wilson. So we got a lot of key pieces that rotate in and give us some good depth that we're not used to having. So it's almost like I said, pick your poison. If you're going to lock those two down, you better get out and get these other girls because they can knock down some shots and do some good things.
Let's talk about the district real quick. We've got Summit and Spring Hill, both undefeated at this time. Brentwood 6-1, Page 5-1. Then you go to the middle of the pack, so to speak. You got Ravenwood and Dixon there. Franklin, much improved team. Starting with you, Coach White, you guys right now, if the season ended, you would be in that 8-9 game, which again, taking a look at that, it'll be a game that you can compete in. You could win if you had to play that right now. To me, that's probably not bad for your team. It's a play-in game, so to speak, to get to the 8. But if you could have your team win that game, again, we're assuming it ends like if the season ended today. Obviously, it doesn't end today. But that would be a winnable game, and it would allow you to play at a minimum 2 district games if you could pull that out. Have you thought about that at all? Am I bringing that up for the first time, or is that?
No, I mean, it's kind of a thought. We started earlier in the week, kind of the second round of the district as we're when we hit Ravenwood second time around. So it's this time of year you start thinking tournament, and we've been fortunate. We may be one of the only teams in the district that's actually played every one of their games so far. When I look at everybody's records, it's like, wow, we've played a lot of games. And if we can get to that, we'll get to that 8 or 9 game in another month, and we can continue to improve. Yeah, I think, we have a shot at it. And it's just, you're always trying to keep everybody healthy by the end of the year. And then with COVID, it's kind of like there's a whole nother level of keeping everybody healthy. And their families and everybody else involved. So we'll just see. I think we got about a month. It's about a month from today, probably, that we start our district. So we'll see.
Coach Brock, your team still in a position to potentially finish as high as number 1 in the district. And the way the tournament is set up this year, the better seed, so to speak, is going to end up hosting throughout. Has to be something that you guys are thinking about there at Page. You want to finish as high as you can, because that also not only means, in theory, an easier opponent to play or opponents to play, but also now it's going to be satellite all the way through. Not really sure what's going to happen with the state tournament at this point, but at least until that level, it's going to be all home sites. Has to be something that's important to your team.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, we play well here. Obviously, you want to get games at home because that's where you practice. That's where you live during the basketball season. So, of course, getting home games is utmost importance. But you take it a game at a time. You never know what's going to happen through the season, and late in the season, you just want everybody healthy. So as long as we can keep everybody healthy and strive to win each and every game, because we start after every win, we start 0-0. So just focus on that next game, get that next win, and hopefully things fall into place where we can play a game at home.
Coaches, I appreciate you joining me today. I know you got a big game tonight. I know you have a busy schedule. Really enjoyed talking Independence and Page girls basketball. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Darrin.
We'll be right back to talk Independence Page boys basketball. Welcome back to the Coaches Preview Show. We're talking now Independence Page boys basketball. And Coach Keil, we need to call this the Coach Keil segment. Coach Howard couldn't be with us today, so we're going to be mainly talking about your squad and Independence basketball.
Getting to talk to me is quite a disappointment for most of these people, probably.
Listen, I always enjoy it, Coach. We always say this. We go way back, even back to the days when you were at Warren County. You did a good job there. I thought I was always impressed with your teams and matching up with you, whether it was Warren County, whether it was Lebanon, Glencliff. I think maybe we played one summer. Can't remember exactly. Independence High School. You can say one thing about your teams every time. Always are going to play hard. Never seen a Doug Keil team that didn't play really, really hard.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And, that is actually one of our struggles this year, is being consistent with that. We play hard for 2 or 3 quarters, or, 4 guys play hard and one's resting. And that's with inexperience that we have, the youth that we have. That's the thing that we're working for. And hopefully we get it all together by the end of this year.
Coach, we'll talk about particular players on your team here in a bit, but your team has been playing well. Big win last Friday over Brentwood, 68-64. Did have a tough loss to Ravenwood. Those are teams that are in the top 3 right now in the standings. So you had to be pleased with that win against Brentwood. It's always tough to get a win against Brentwood. Your teams have matched up really well with Brentwood. Even last year when you guys were an 8 seed, you give them everything they want.
Well, we lost in overtime to them. They're a very talented, very well-coached team, and our guys got excited to play, and they played hard and did things that we needed to do. I don't think necessarily Brentwood shot the ball well. Hopefully we had something to do with that. But I think it shows us what we're capable of doing, but we just need to do it on a more consistent basis.
Coach, even going back to last year, you had that game to end the regular season or late in the season. You turn right around and play again, and you've got that big lead in the first half. Obviously, they were a great team. You were a team that also had some experience, but that has been a great matchup, Brentwood Independence.
Oh, yeah. I just think we matched up well with them, their offense, and for some reason our guys really look forward to playing them, I think.
Coach, you're now in year 3 as the head coach at Independence. You've been in a few other leagues. Talk a little bit about this district. Obviously, it's a little different this year, but being in this district as compared to some other leagues you've been in.
Well, it does kind of remind me of 9 AAA back in the day, if you will, in that it's competitive from top to bottom. There may be a couple teams here and there every so often that struggle, but there's no district that I know of that's as competitive, let's say 1 through 7, each year. Sometimes, like I said, there's a couple teams that struggle throughout. And, Dixon County was really outstanding last year, but of course they graduated a lot of players and so they're struggling, but you expect them to be back. Of course, next year's district is completely different again. But, they're outstanding coaches and young men who really like to compete, and you've got to be ready to play every night and play for 4 quarters and maybe even longer.
Coach, something I've noticed, obviously we have limitations on crowds because of COVID-19, but I'll be honest, when I go to these games, I look at it and go, this would be a good crowd in a lot of districts in a normal year.
Oh, well, that is completely true. I mean, these is definitely the best crowds you could get. I think Williamson County really shows out for their sports, and we really appreciate all their support. This year we're missing those student sections tremendously, but and I feel for the kids all throughout the state and throughout the country who don't get to experience that, but at least we are getting to compete, and they're getting a taste of that as much as possible.
Coach, talk about the challenges of dealing with COVID-19 in terms of your everyday routine, not only as a coach, but also as a teacher. It's been a challenging year, I know.
It has, but we've kind of embraced those challenges and just accept them and move on. They're just like everybody else, the spacing, it's hard sometimes in practice, keeping people apart and doing that every day. Wearing the masks from team meetings, and doing those kind of things every day. And in the classroom, I'm so proud of the students of Williamson County who have been able to adapt, whether we're hybrid, whether we're in school, out of school, and they've adapted through the Zoom meetings, just like our meeting here. It's great seeing your face, but I don't get to shake your hand. You know what I'm saying? But I think these people will adapt, and you learn to appreciate those opportunities where you can share those times together.
Coach, now I really appreciate you saying it's great to see my face. That's the first time I've heard anybody say that on one of these shows, so I appreciate that.
Okay, so I was being nice.
Hey, Coach, here's something that Coach White brought up in the previous segment, and I was going to bring up to you as well. You're one of only 3 teams that is caught up in terms of playing district games. That really has to help as we progress. Now, I'm not trying to jinx your team. Obviously, at any time something could happen, but that's got to mean a lot that you're caught up.
Yeah, we've missed some playing time individually, but overall, we've been very fortunate to be able to get our games in and not have to miss either for our team or the team that we were playing. There's been some schools that have missed, but it's been very fortunate for us that we've been able to play a normal schedule. We missed throughout Christmas, the holiday season, and didn't play any games that we were supposed to travel to, but we're ready to go.
Coach, you're 5-4 in district play, which I think has surprised a few people. Last year, you had 6 seniors that you lost that were big time contributors. You finished in the bottom tier of the league. Right now, you're in the mix for having a home game, which basically means you're finishing in the top 4. It surprised some people. I don't think, in talking to you, it's totally surprised you, though.
No, I guess, we've really had some high expectations and we hope to even improve on that. I think right now, if you look at it, we're somewhere between 3 and 6 or 7, even possibly. It would be tough after losing 2 games to Ravenwood to climb into that 2 seed. Last Tuesday was a very disappointing loss. Credit Ravenwood, they played outstanding, but we've got a group that I think is pretty talented and well balanced, and we share the ball well. We work hard. They work hard together. We just got to be more consistent.
Cameron Bell was a returning player that I think you had a lot of expectation for. The folks in the district know who he is. A young man that moved in last year, did a great job for you. Talk about what he means to your team.
Well, he's kind of our inside presence. He does the heavy lifting in the rebounding department and scoring down low, and also defending that post play. It's a big challenge. We've got a lot of guards outside of him. Justin Miles does a really good job of coming off the bench and spotting Cameron. But we've got to get some more consistent scoring from Cameron, and I'm sure he's capable. And he really is fun to coach. He wants to get better. He's a yes sir guy. I will, whatever I can do, and he wants to learn. He hasn't had much experience playing basketball prior to last year in an organized fashion. So, and he's just a junior, and we've got a lot of juniors this year playing and underclassmen, even a freshman, playing some significant minutes.
River Katina, another young man that's played well for you. And you mentioned a freshman, Jet Montgomery. Jet, 22 points against Brentwood last week. And the most impressive stat to me was he's 9 of 9 from the free throw line against Brentwood down the stretch. For you to have the confidence for your team, and I'm assuming that you were trying to get him the ball to go to the free throw line. Maybe it's a little bit of Brentwood saying, hey, let's foul the young guy. But that's big time now, him to step up and do that.
Yeah, he's works on his game so hard. Another great guy, one of the hardest workers we have already as a freshman, and so mature for a freshman. Definitely has a great stroke, confidence in his game. He's shooting 89 or 79%, I think, from the free throw line. His effective field goal percentage is 57%, shooting 41% from threes. He can flick it. And so really excited. I think he was honored to be the player of the week, Gateway Tire. And so that was really cool to for that presentation for him. He deserves it. And, he's just kind of earned it all the way through. Just starting for us after Christmas break, and has really shown up in a great way. Well, of course, River is another outstanding young man. He's a junior, and we expected him to give us plenty of help last year, but due to injury, he was not allowed. Didn't get as much time that we had hoped, and but he's coming on, and he's an exceptional talent. Has great court vision, and really could be special.
Coach, let's talk about the district standings right now. And again, it's jumbled up. You got people who've played games, not played games. But as we sit here today, Dixon and Spring Hill both still looking for their first win. Centennial 2-6, Page 4-4, Summit 3-3, Brentwood 4-3. You guys are sitting at 5-4, Ravenwood 7-2, Franklin 8-1. So like you said, you're sitting in third if you're talking about win column. But Brentwood, Summit, Page, really a lot could be said there. Probably going to be tough for Centennial to climb too much at this point. So it looks like that will be the teams that'll be 3 through 6. A lot of basketball still to play, but right now you've got the inside track at not only finishing the top 4, but potentially as high as 3. That would mean a home game if you can get in the top 4, which would give you an opportunity to play at home to advance not only to the district semifinals, but also to the region tournament. So that's got to be on your mind a little bit too, that home game possibility.
Absolutely, especially with COVID, the way that the tournament's organized, everything's going to be at home with a higher seed. So you're definitely focused on that, because that definitely helps. But what we do is if you win one of those games, you're going to be playing the same teams, those same 4 teams, is what it looks like if it stays this way. So, if it stays in those 4, Brentwood, Page, Summit, and us, will be playing each other in some form or fashion in that first round. So you want to have all the advantages you can.
Coach, if you take a look at your roster, you would think that you're a year away from being really good. But what would that mean for this team? Because you're going to have so many people come back. Not that you're looking forward, you're looking at right now. But what would that mean for this team to have a chance to play 2, 3, 4, maybe more postseason games, and then have, in essence, your entire or most of your squad coming back? It would have to mean a lot for this team.
We have some senior contributors that really do a lot for us. In Sam Womack running the point for us and control, and then Colin Upright, who comes off the bench and just fills whatever role, just a workhorse. Those are 2 guys that you just absolutely love to coach. They just all team guys, whatever it takes, coach, we'll do it. So I love having those. And I mentioned Justin Miles coming off the bench and spotting up Cameron. And then there's Jackson Campbell, who, what a great athlete he is as a quarterback from the football team, and going to Navy to play football there. So he's a great athlete, and he helps us with his athleticism, especially on defense and on the boards. So we do have a good senior group that's very supportive. But yeah, our core, I think, is with our juniors. And it kind of reminds me of the opportunity that Lebanon had when I was my last 2 years at Lebanon. We had a junior group, and we remember talking about it. It's like, they thought they could make it a long way as seniors, and we kind of tried to refocus them. And lo and behold, we got them. We got the state tournament as juniors, and then repeated the state tournament appearance as seniors the year after I left in 2000, 99 and 2000.
Coach, the first battle, let's talk a little bit more about tonight's game. You come out on top 52-50. That was back on December 4th at Independence. So tonight should be another great challenge and a great battle, not only for district standings, but it's two teams that I think are pretty similar. Talk about some keys for you to come out on top tonight.
Well, we have got to do a much better job of rebounding the basketball. Both ends. That's one of our weaknesses right now. We got to give Cameron some help. He's got to do a better job also on the inside. I think getting inside offensively. He does a really good job cleaning it up on defense for us. But we've got to rebound much better. We've got to take care of the basketball. I expect us to compete defensively. But they run some good stuff. They're well coached. They're great team oriented. We've got to figure out how to handle their big man. Anytime you got somebody 6'7" or bigger, which he is, I think he's 6'9". I don't know. He's a lot taller than me. So, but we've got work to do. But we can hopefully give them some challenges as well. But those are some key things that I think we have to do, and I think that's what we're trying to clean up and what we've been trying to clean up with our inexperience. I think we've got plenty of talent. It's just a matter of focusing that talent and making sure that we understand we got to play 32 minutes.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to tonight's matchup, the WCTV game of the week. Independence High School travels to Page High School. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule today, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us for the Coach's Preview Show. We'll see you next time.